Hey guys, uh, these are the parking lot bezels for the 65. This one is, I just pulled them off. This one's in pretty good shape. It needs to be polished up. It kind of looks, it's dull looking. It is aluminum, but this one here is on the passenger side. As you can see, it's kind of beat up. So basically what I want to do is I want to try to straighten it out as best I can. On these old aluminum things, you can spend a little bit of time on them. I'm not going to get it to look as good as that one, of course, but you can spend a little bit of time on them. Get you a little Eastwood makes what they call I think it's called a molding anvil, that you can lay them on in these radiuses right here. You can just kind of take a hammer and lay them on that anvil and straighten them back out. So National Parts Depot wants I think it's $42 or $49 a piece for them. And you know, if I was going to make a show truck out of it, that'd be what I would do. I would probably buy that. But you know, this it's not going to be a show truck. I am replacing the lenses. National Parts Depot has the lenses for $6.95 a piece, I think. So I'm going to put 2 new lenses in it. But I'm going to go ahead and just try to straighten this one out as good as I can. I mean, with it being aluminum, you know, you can get them straightened out, and then you can take a small file and file on them, and then polish them, and you can make them look pretty good. So I think I'm going to go ahead and try that with this one, and I'll just keep you guys informed and updated on what they look like. So, okay, guys, my purchases have arrived for working on my trim. This is a trim anvil. Eastwood Company makes them. As you can tell by looking at it and the way they're made, that they'd be, you know, they're going to come in really handy for, you know, maybe meticulous work on trim. It's kind of heavy, you know. It should sit down, and of course it's got little places where you can bolt, you know, put bolts in it to bolt it down to your workbench or whatever. But you know, they're good for just, you know, like laying down things down and you know, such. So and I also bought a trim hammer. It's also Eastwood. It seems to be well made. Now, I have used one of these before, but it was somewhat bigger, and it was in a hammer and a body dolly, hammer and dolly set. So but this one is quite a bit smaller, and it's still kind of heavy, but I think it's going to come in really handy. You know, for especially maybe like when you, if you'll look on this corner right here, it's kind of dented in really sharply right there. And if you look on the back side here, you can see where you could maybe take your hammer and, you know, start working right in here, working on that. Now, I have done a few pieces before. I'm not an expert at this by any means, but I have done a few pieces before, and it's mainly bigger pieces like a hubcap. I had a hubcap that was dented in on my '67 Mustang, and I spent a little time with it with like I say, with a bigger hammer, and just worked on a flat piece of metal and got it to looking really good. I've got some, like I call them a jeweler's file. It's a real fine file. It's they work really good, like for smoothing things out, you know, after you get some of the dents knocked out of them. I have found that, like working on this area right here, if you'll basically just start going backwards from the way that you can imagine that the dent started to begin with, it seems to work better. If you try to start and say bend this back up and make it look like the other piece, make it look like it's supposed to be, you're really hurting it. So what I would do when I start on this is I'm just going to start knocking it back in the way it was knocked back out, in some of this area right in here. It will probably straighten up a lot on its own, and as you get this dent worked out and this dent worked out, some of this right here, this areas right here should come back together and form back together on their own. And then once you get the crease straightened back out as well as you can, if you have to do some tweaking around these edges right here, you probably be able to do some tweaking then. But basically start whenever you're working on that by going backwards from the way the dent started to begin with, and then work from there. Now, like this dent right here, you would want to work this dent in and make it protrude above this surface right here, but barely, because what you want to do is you want to knock this dent back in and have this just sticking up right here to where you can file it down and smooth it back out. But if you don't want it to protrude too much, or when you go to work on it you'll grind a hole in it, then the part's ruined. So if you just take your time, and like I say, I'm not an expert, but I did get a hubcap on my old car to look pretty good. So, but I basically, just as you're bringing the dents back out, don't get them too high, but get them high enough to where you'll have some area to work off the rough scratches and things like that on the back side, on the front side, to where you can clean them up with a file. You can make them look really, really good, but you know, and save a little bit of money. You know, you know, sometimes some people might say, you know, $40 bucks for this would be a whole lot easier than working on it. But I mean, money here and money there seems to add up. And like I said, this is going to be a shop truck, but I don't want to put something like that back on there. So, but thanks for watching, and just keep watching, and we'll see. I'll try to post as I go along so we can see how the progress is. Okay, guys, here's the bezel. I think it turned out pretty good. I'm using my little hammer and trim anvil. Got this area right here where it was bent really bad, straightened back out. And there's a little few dents here and there in it, but like I said, I didn't want to make it perfect. It wasn't going to be one of those. I didn't want it to show quality, because like I say, it's a patina truck. Right there where that dent was, I got it all out, but just a little bit right there, that real deep dent. If you'll look on the back side where I had to work on it, right in there, I was afraid to do too much because I was afraid I'd file a hole in it, but I got it to looking pretty good. I took some red Scotch-Brite and just give it a brushed look, because like I say, I didn't want to shine it up. You don't want real shiny bezels on a patina truck. On this one here, the lens was busted, but I ordered new lenses from National Parts Depot for both sides. And I don't know if y'all remember it in the earlier, but there was a big rusty spot right here. The screw that they had on this side was just a regular screw, and it rusted real bad, and I had to clean that out. There's still just a little bit in the corner there, but you're not going to be able to see that. So but I think it turned out pretty good. Here's the other one. It's a little bit shinier. I'm probably going to take me some piece of Scotch-Brite to it and scuff it up, but and just make them match. But I think it turned out pretty good. And like I say, I'm not a professional, but you know, it's going to be good for what the truck is. So also today, when I got in from work this evening, this was here on the door. I ordered an HEI distributor for the truck. So it's a pretty good deal. I think I got it on eBay. So there's the wires and the distributor itself here. So they're pretty much, you just plug them right up, you know, just do away with the coil. And I don't like fooling with points. I mean, they're kind of a pain, and actually the electronic ignition works a lot better than the points do. It's a hotter spark, but you know, if you're restoring as a purist car, then you can't go that route. I understand that, but you know, just for what I'm doing, I think it's going to be it'll be what I need. You know, it'll take care of everything. I put one on my Mustang, on my 6-cylinder engine on my Mustang, and it really helped it quite a bit. So, but that's pretty much it for this video, guys. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have any comments, please leave them below, and stay tuned. I'm going to try to keep posting as I do things to the old truck, and if you've got any questions or anything like that, just put them in the comments below. Thank you all very much.